What's up, guys? I'm Mike from StockedUp, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We had some really interesting news in the market today regarding COVID and possibly shutting down, and we also had news from Powell, and then we actually just kind of saw some, I don't want to call it weird, but some interesting movement in the market today, especially with the SPY. We saw the markets kind of open pretty flat, slowly drop during the day, and then almost just rocket up towards the end of the day. So with this movement, we do have some interesting plays for the rest of this week and a lot of important news to eye out for next week. So make sure you guys stick around to the end. And as always, if you aren't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe to see our daily videos on your YouTube homepage every single day. And then also, if you guys aren't in our Discord chat already, it's the first link in the description down below for completely free day trades every single morning and access to network with about 11,000 other members. So Tom, what happened in the stock market today?
The big news was that Chicago's mayor asked their residents to cancel Thanksgiving plans and stay indoors as COVID cases rise. And Chicago said that it was issuing the 30-day stay-at-home advisory, asking people to refrain from traveling, having guests in their home, or leaving for non-essential business. And I know that last year, whenever a lot of these other cities started implementing these stay-at-home orders, a lot of the other cities also started following in cities like Chicago's footsteps, who did it first. And right now, I'm really wondering if a lot of other cities / states are going to start issuing stay-at-home orders and start shutting down the economy again with cases rising, and especially with it getting more into these winter months once again, whenever they said that it would spread. And we can see that once this happened today, the S&P really took a tumble, and SPY or /ES, which is S&P 500 futures, really tanked off very hard in the middle of the day and came all the way down throughout the day, all the way down to this bottom trend line, and then bounced all the way back to the top trend line. And I just wanted to say that I keep these support and resistance lines on my chart for you guys to use. And if we go to my daily chart, I never really change the lines, and if I do, I will always show that in the video. So with the SPY, we can see it bounced off the bottom trend and then came all the way back up to end the day. And it was really a wild day for traders, but with an overall, it pretty much had an overall bearish sentiment though. And I really like how the market went down very hard in the middle of the day. And I know a lot of traders really took action and picked up on puts during that time.
Great information there. And, if we see more cities or states start to close down the economy again, I would really expect the market to fall. So what did Powell have to say about all this COVID news?
Yeah, Powell came out today and he spoke at a European Central Bank forum today, and he said that he worries about the long-term impacts of the coronavirus pandemic, and of course he's worried about that, but he says from our standpoint, it's just too soon to assess with any confidence the implications of the news for the path of the economy, especially in the near term, Powell said regarding the vaccine. With the virus spreading, the next few months could be challenging. So, what he says is pretty interesting, but at the same time, he also says we're not going to go back to the same economy. So with, I know that that's something that it's pretty interesting that he says that we're not going to go back to the same economy, but the way that tech and everything like that has really shot up, like if we look at the QQQ on a daily chart, we can see how much it's shot up over the past year compared to, let's just say /YM, or let's just go to DIA, which is the Dow. We can see the Dow did not break their highs. They did very slightly over the past few days, but overall, they did not go past their highs very much like the QQQ and a lot of tech stocks did. The market really used to love oil, gas, and banks, and it seems that we're now transitioning fully into a tech-based market, and especially with solar and everything like that coming out now, that's really going to create a lot of tech space or tech type of jobs, and just the tech industry overall is going to go up. Like if we transition out of oil and gas and we go more into solar technology, let's just say over the next 50 years, just imagine investing in oil companies, back in the 60s and in the 70s. It would have been a pretty good time to get in, but right now it's probably a pretty good time to get into a lot of these solar stocks that are kind of picking up steam, kind of like the oil and gas industry was doing back then. And just keep in mind though that with this solar technology, everything regarding solar is fully tech. Like everything that goes into building the panels and everything, that all has to do with tech. So tech is really going to be the future, especially if energy transitions into tech.
True. I mean, we all know that the technology sector has just been exploding over the past decade, but what really just gave it a huge boost was COVID, because everyone was staying at home, like they're working remotely. Like there's a lot of different factors, and just like especially like all of these cloud-based communications companies and like pretty much anything to do with tech is just exploding, and it's pretty obvious when you look at the QQQ. Look at the QQQ compared to the DIA, which is the Dow, where you see all of these like the how do I word this, like kind of like the old school, I mean they're not old school companies, but companies that have been blue chips for a long time now, and you're seeing more and more tech stocks get added to the Dow.
Yeah,
So
and the Dow dropped. They dropped an oil company like Exxon and Mobil and added a tech stock. So that just show you right there that the market is somewhat transitioning into tech. And I'm not saying all these oil companies are going to die or just go nowhere, but just keep in mind that in the future, a lot of these companies are going to be transitioning into tech and out of more of the harsher chemicals slash energy companies.
true, awesome. So is there any other news today?
Yep, some other big news was that Disney reported earnings today in after hours. Let's go look at the minute chart. They did very well today, and they ended up popping from around 135 at close, and they ran all the way up to 145 in after hours, which is pretty good. And their loss per share was 20 cents versus 71 cents expected. So they did end up losing, but it wasn't the worst loss in the world. And their revenue was 14.71 billion versus 14.2 billion expected. So they beat their revenue earnings, and the company continues to feel the strain of public health restrictions on its theme parks business, and recently reorganized the company to prioritize their video streaming service, which is Disney Plus. So just keep in mind that even though their theme park is not going to be doing well right now with Disney, Disney Plus is very good, and it just has a very good outlook for it, and it's just a big competitor to Netflix. And like you said earlier, with COVID, that's a big boost to anything that involves staying at home. And obviously whenever people are home, they like to watch videos and movies all day. So Disney Plus is a great thing that Disney did to kind of keep their company in with this kind of tech boom. And if they never got Disney Plus, I'd be very interested to see where Disney was right now.
I 100% agree. And I remember when Disney first announced their Disney Plus news, and they were skyrocketing. And it's definitely been, Disney Plus has definitely been a great asset to their company. So, with that being said, now let's get into our Discord member of the day. Today's Discord member of the day is PK Melee, and she said, Tom and Mike, you guys are killing it. Keep it up. You guys are the most hardworking people I know. Videos every day. So thank you so much for that. But she posted an amazing trade that she had in the Discord today. She made about $600 on Netflix. So Netflix was actually one of the free day trades this morning, and she played it perfectly. She didn't hesitate to get in, and the risk clearly paid off. So great job with that trade, and thank you so much for the kind words and always helping other Discord members. If you guys want to join the Discord, you can click the first link in the description down below. It's completely free day trades every single morning, and then also access to about 11,000 other traders. So let's get into our momentum plays for tomorrow. And the first one is Oracle, so ORCL. And this stock was down about 1.5% today. So, Tom, what levels should we be watching?
Yeah, really make Oracle fall below 56.10, and we can see that over the past few days it's came pretty close to that level and then went back up. So whenever it falls below this, I would really expect a pretty steep drop.
Awesome. With the next one, we have McDonald's.
MCD, make them go ahead and pop right below. They had earnings the other day and had kind of a wicked day that day and ran pretty low, but make them fall right below 210.
All right. And then last but not least, SPY, SPY.
SPY, wow, it's not often that we see SPY on this list.
Right.
Go ahead and make them fall below 351. And if SPY falls below that, I would really expect a lot of other stocks to fall below that as well, especially considering how much SPY has went up and down the past couple of days. And like I said in the beginning of the video, I had that support right around 351 today. So SPY bounced off of it twice.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good support. I mean, I see the SPY bouncing off of this level like, what is it, 3 times this week, and then it also touched it as resistance like 3 or 4 times a couple days ago. So I think it's a pretty solid level. if we do fall below that, that's definitely something you're gonna want to watch out for. So let's jump into the unusual options activity for tomorrow, and we are looking at the mRNA 90 strike call options that expire on November 13th. And there was about $2.5 million put into this play. I mean, look at this stock. I mean, it closed at almost, closed at intraday highs today, and it's even running up a little bit in the after hours. I think this has a lot of potential. What are you seeing?
Yeah, man, this is a crazy play. I really like this, honestly, to the upside. It looks like they might come back and try to retest all-time highs right around 95.20, 95.21. And let's go back to that intraday chart. On the 1 minute today, like you said, they came all the way up and closed very high. And I really like that, especially with the vaccine news. They've been running over the past few days off that vaccine news. And it's just great news overall for the market and for companies like mRNA. And with them only being $2 out of the money, and with how strong they are, I would really think that they were longing the calls. And I just really like this movement overall. Like you said, it's just a very attractive stock with attractive news. And whenever that goes hand in hand, you see a lot of good volume come into those companies.
True, and Tom, since it is a vaccine stock, we have to mention this. Sometimes vaccine stocks, they run up a little bit too much in pre-market where they actually fall at open. So like if we see mRNA at like $95 tomorrow morning or just something crazy like that, you might want to stay away from it because we've noticed that with these vaccine stocks, they just run up sometimes a little too much in pre-market where they actually fall when the market opens, like exactly what happened with Pfizer, PFE, when they announced that vaccine news.
Yeah, here's Pfizer. You can see that in pre-market, they pretty much opened right around the $37 level and ran up 5 points up to around 42.50. And then once the market actually opened, they fell from around 42 all the way down to around 38.50. So it's just pretty big volatility you can see on these stocks at open, and especially if you see the movement in pre-market. And personally, if you see that type of movement on mRNA in pre-market, I probably just wouldn't play it, just given how often that it actually does fall whenever it rises in pre-market like that. But I think that if we stay below, let's just say like $89, I think we have a pretty good shot.
Awesome. So, Tom, what are you thinking about NIO? Everyone's been talking about this stock. It just seems like it goes up and up and up every single day. They have earnings coming up. Everyone's talking about it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that with them, I think that going into earnings, they will keep continuing up, and it seems like that they just cannot be stopped. I mean, it's a powerhouse. They just keep breaking highs. They had 2 days of consolidation, but other than that, over the past 10 days, it's pretty much been all green. And I really like how strong they are. Like today, it's up 12%. This stock really moves. And I think that if we break that high, 49.35 tomorrow, we could go up again. But I'm going to be honest, whenever earnings come around, I think that's whenever we could actually see a drop on NIO, just because NIO obviously has not sold a ton of cars yet. So just keep in mind that they're not going to have a ton of revenue. The last time they reported earnings, they only reported 15 cents per share. So I know that they're selling some cars and they have prototypes right now, but that's a big difference than let's just say Tesla, who's out there selling, hundreds of thousands of cars. It's a big difference. And with NIO, I think that whenever you see earnings come up, I think that's whenever we might see the turnaround on this stock. And I know that we've been looking for a turnaround on it for a couple weeks now, and it just keeps going higher and higher, but that turnaround will come eventually.
Yeah, exactly. This stock cannot just go up forever, so just be careful about that. And speaking of NIO, I mean, the options bot today was spamming it, like pretty much ever since open. So the machine learning bot, if you guys want to try it out, it basically calls out stocks that are moving intraday, uses machine learning techniques to figure out which stocks are most likely to continue up or down for the rest of the day. So you can check that out using the stocked up options alerts link in the description down below. But now let's get into our questions from the previous episode. With the first question, we have Miguel saying, damn, I'm going to get Google puts because they broke YouTube. So YouTube was down yesterday right when we posted the video. I know a lot of users were experiencing problems, and it seems like they fixed everything now. But speaking of Google, what do you think about them, Tom?
Yeah, Google, I really like them, especially over the past few days. And the thing that I really like is that whenever the SPY went really red today in the middle to the end of the day, Google, I know that it went red, but it didn't really go as red as the SPY did, which means to me that Google might actually hold its own ground during this. And with the election and everything like that that just happened, I think that that gives Google a pretty big boost since more people are on Google and Googling different things, of course. And even with the virus even getting worse, it might even help Google. So, in the short term, I could see Google possibly going up. But if we see the SPY take another tumble tomorrow, like we saw today, I think that Google will come down. But it's just one of those things that to where they didn't tumble as much as I think that they should have, and I think that Google has a chance to possibly hold up and not fall as much as some of these other stocks, kind of like oil companies would.
Interesting. With the next question, we have Matt saying, "Thank you for all the great videos. I share them with my mini group of friends consistently. What are your thoughts on FSR and FVAC?" So before we get into that, thank you so much for the great comment, and thank you for sharing our videos. We really appreciate it. So Tom, what do you see with FSR?
Yeah, FSR is Fisker, which is actually an automotive company, which is pretty interesting. And I think that they actually are getting into the EV industry, which is kind of like NIO and Tesla. So I could see them possibly running. And it looks like they're bouncing off that 100 SMA on this daily chart. And they just broke that pretty volatile candle, which was right around $15.45. And they broke that high and ended up running today. Let's go intraday on them. So they did end up coming back whenever the SPY came down, but I do like Fisker a lot, especially if they're getting into more electric vehicles like we're going to be seeing with NIO and Tesla. But Fisker overall, I really like them on the daily chart. What do you think, Mike? I mean, it's kind of hard to say with how low of price they are.
True. Like I normally don't trade setups like this, but if they do announce like some good EV news, anything with electric vehicles, I think that can definitely give them a boost. I mean, I'm not against a play. It's just I normally don't trade setups like that. Doesn't mean it's a bad setup. It's just something a little different than I normally trade. They do have resistance around the $18 level, so I can see it possibly retesting that. And then he also asked about FVAC.
FDAC.
No, no, FVAC.
Oh, sorry, FVAC. Yeah, another low price stock, but it looks like that they're going to be going up over the next couple of weeks. And I don't know exactly what this company does, but it looks pretty similar to Fisker on the setup, that is, as being pretty low price and very volatile. So personally, I wouldn't put a lot of money into this, but it just looks like one of those companies that could end up going up quite a bit. I don't know what they do fundamentally though, but I think that would be the main factor behind this stock is they have to have something pretty good about electric vehicles or some type of acquisitions that they are actually getting.
Awesome. With the last question we have CDS saying, "Can you talk about Peloton, Netflix, and then Gilead?"
Yeah, Peloton looks pretty good over the past few days. And if we look on my daily chart, I have quite a bit of supports on them, but they did bounce off of the support right around 111.50 today and then kind of pop back down. So with Peloton, I'm really going to be looking at the overall market. I think Peloton's due to maybe come back down. And you can see that they were at around 130 or 130 to $132. And then they had a pretty big drop on Monday whenever that vaccine came out, which was pretty interesting to see Peloton drop after that vaccine came out. But with that being said, though, they ended up going flat over the next few days. And now I could possibly maybe see them falling again, just given their daily chart and that they're bouncing off of that resistance. But just keep in mind that Peloton's a very volatile stock and it can go either way. So if you wanted to look at a level for Peloton tomorrow, if they pass above 112, I'd be pretty bullish on them. But if they pass below 105, I'd be pretty bearish.
Awesome. Then he also was asking about Netflix.
Netflix, yeah, I like Netflix. Disney Plus, like we reported earlier, Disney just went up off of Disney Plus and their earnings today, so maybe Netflix could take a little bit of a tumble off of that. I know sometimes they go down whenever Disney Plus goes up, but other than that, I still like Netflix for the long term. But in the short term, it's just like Peloton. I could possibly see them having a slight pullback, especially if the market overall keeps pulling back.
All right. And then the last one was Gilead.
GILD. This one's the king of the vaccinations, and it looks like that they're no longer the king of the vaccinations. We can see that back whenever the virus first started happening, Gilead was really popping and getting very volatile, and over the past few months, they've fallen all the way down, but it looks like they're trying to pop back up with all this vaccination news, so hopefully Pfizer and other companies like BioNTech could go ahead and keep Gilead up because it looks like that they are starting to fall off. And given around the hype that they had with the virus, I can see why they're falling off if they themselves don't have a vaccine that's getting approved by the FDA or one that we're actually going to be using.
I wouldn't call Gilead the king of vaccinations. I would call them the king of volatility. If you look at them from March to about May, like that is probably one of the most volatile charts I have seen. Like they literally run up and then they gap up and they just have these massive swings. Like it's just crazy even looking at the chart.
Yeah, they almost single-handedly brought traders into this market. Like a lot of traders weren't looking at Gilead, Abbott, or mRNA or any of these companies. Like
Pfizer.
I know that they were looking at Pfizer and bigger companies, but it's just crazy to see that Gilead brought in all these people into these vaccination stocks. And really just look at the volatility on this daily chart. I'm going to zoom in so people can really see it. But I mean, man, you were having swings where one day you'd open up at $66 and then you'd close the next day at 76, and then a couple days later you'd end up at 80, and then all the way back down to 66 again a few days later. It's just that's crazy movement. It happened for about 4 months.
Yeah, that's crazy. So Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or any insight for tomorrow?
There's not. I'm not giving too much insight for tomorrow. The only main thing I wanted to talk about was the GLD. I know that I was trading this a while ago, and GLD is still going to follow gold, of course, but gold has been acting weird over the past few days. Ever since we saw this big red candle on GLD, GLD has been acting a little bit strange, and that could have to do with the overall market kind of transitioning right now. And if we look on GLD's chart on the daily, you can see how much of a gap that there's been on these daily candles, and that's just indicative that GLD is not moving the way that we liked it to. And back whenever I was trading it in August and September and October, it was moving a lot better than it has over the past few weeks. So I'm taking GLD off of my radar as a gold stock as of now, just because of the movement that it's had. And just keep in mind, it's an ETF, so it will have crazy movement like this, but it was moving a lot safer a few months ago.
True. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you want to try out the machine learning bot, you can click the Stocked Up Options Alerts link in the description down below. With that, you get the machine learning bot and the same options that Tom and I trade every single day. And then also, if you guys want to join the Discord chat, it's completely free. There's day trades and then access to about 11,000 other traders. And then last but not least, if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel already, consider subscribing. We post new videos every single day. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.